Hi there, so for today's video we're gonna talk about setting up your Cactus V6 II transmitter right here. Setting up the transmitter, or as we usually call it, TX. And as you may know, we put on the transmitter script, this printing here, TX, off and RX. As you know, this is a transceiver. So, which means it can be set to as a transmitter, transmitting signals out, placed on top of the camera, or as a receiver with the flash on top, acting as an off-camera flash. And some of you may have actually seen this space here. It's quite echoey. It's our meeting room. Usually we treat our guests here, customers would come in here with their products for service. So on here you can see a little display wall. It's quite looking cool with a concrete wall in the background, looking nice and raw at the same time. And we got this nice color matching chairs with the yellow that we have been using on the LV5 laser trigger. So let's get straight to it after looking around the room. So in front, I've got two V6 II, one with the multi-brand HSS firmware and one with one of the XTTL firmware. And for the camera, we have the same loaner unit from Fujifilm, the X-H1. So let me put on the first one here on the camera. Alright, so I switch on the camera and then the transmitter. And when you can see the DET, which stands for auto detect, that means that I have the multi-brand HSS firmware, which works on different cameras, and of course one of them is Fujifilm. And just to show you quickly the firmware that's been using right now, that's the 1.1.013. And you might notice when I switch on the camera, I can show it again. So camera on first, and at the same time as I push this into transmitter mode, I would have pressed a couple times, and that is to keep the camera active. And you see on the screen here, the F stands for Fujifilm, is displayed in the camera icon. And what I just did here is actually pulling up the camera info screen. So holding down the menu button and then scrolling the dial, you can see the screen. And what this screen or this function can also be controlling the on-camera flash. If you have a compatible TTL flash on the V6 II, so Canon, Fujifilm, Nikon, etc., you can actually control the power by holding down the menu button and scrolling the dial. And of course, without pressing anything, all the groups that you want to be on, and scrolling the dial will of course control the off-camera flash power output. And so that's it actually for setting up the multi-brand HSS firmware, because by default it's auto detect. But of course the second method is you can select this manually in the camera menu. So right now you see is auto, and you can manually select as Fujifilm. Just for example, if your studio, you only use one camera system, you can just hit Fujifilm, and every time you go shooting, just turn on a camera, and the V6 II, it will skip the part of detecting the camera part, but it will only detect if there's any on-camera flash. So, and of course, same token, you can also manually adjust the flash system and the recording flash profile if you always use the same flash as an on-camera flash. So that's the manual method. And now let's quickly look at an XTTL firmware that I put on installed here on one of the V6 II here. So same thing, camera on first, and then the transmitter. And you can see at the screen actually it's much faster. And the reason is, and you can also see the TTL icons. And the reason is, of course, as I mentioned, I have installed the Fujifilm system-specific XTTL firmware, and this actually hasn't been released yet. We are still testing this firmware, the A version, because right now we are only running on FUJ.1.002, and this will be the next version. So hopefully you can get that out fairly soon. And with XTTL firmware, one press of the group cycles through from the default TTL to manual power to off, and then press one more time and it goes back to TTL. So there you go, that's the basic setup of your transmitter on the Cactus V6 II, and I hope this is helpful to you, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.